Morning, welcome to TNT. Glorious day here. Hope you're well wherever you are. Just a very quick correction to a story we were speaking about yesterday with the possible extension of tourist visas. And it could be up to 90 days as reported over the weekend. But people corrected me because I was talking about Russian people at the moment who get, I said, a 45-day visa exemption. Of course, I was wrong. That has been taken back, like everybody else, back to a 30-day visa exemption. So thank you to those people who made that correction. Hi everybody and welcome to another TNT. It's Tuesday, plenty to talk about. We will get to the new cabinet later. Just wanted to go through some of the names that you might know and what's happened to them as far as the new cabinet in Thailand's concerned. But we'll start with this one, which is a follow-up to, well, the Thaksin story. ThaiPBSWorld.com reporting Pattaya visits her father, Thaksin, in hospital. And a press conference will be held at the Pattaya headquarters today about the latest condition of the convicted Thaksin Shinawat, who's receiving medical treatment at the Police General Hospital in Bangkok. This is according to Thaksin's youngest daughter, Pattaya, who was speaking after visiting her father for 40 minutes in hospital. Yesterday was the first day that the Correctional Department allowed visitors access for Thaksin. He was sent to the Bangkok remand prison to serve the sentence on August the 22nd, but was rushed from the Corrections Hospital to the police hospital during the night, reportedly suffering serious illness. And in response to public criticism, the Corrections Department explained that Thaksin's being treated for several ailments, including high blood pressure, myocardial ischemia, a degenerative spine, pulmonary fibrosis, and heart disease, which is requiring special monitoring. I suppose some people might say it just sounds like he's getting older. And down the bottom there, Pattaya visited Thaksin with a lawyer. She arrived at the hospital at about 1 p.m, left 40 minutes later, and 10 people are now allowed to visit Thaksin each day for 40 minutes each. So you could be one of those 10 people if you'd like to queue up at the hospital and spend 40 minutes with the former Prime Minister. Might take my microphone, it could be a very good interview. Is he as sick as they say? Is he getting special treatment? How long will he spend in the hospital? Of course, everybody's quite interested in these stories. Going to our next story now, we go to Khaosod English, another follow-up, and a hotel executive with the demon-looking 5-metre-tall statue of Guru Kai Kiao. Sounds like it's grown a metre since the reporting last week, which said it was 4 metres tall. Says the hotel cannot move the statue as the space was rented out in a long-term lease and people have the right to believe in whatever they want. And a representative of the chairman of the Bazaar Hotel said at a press conference that those behind the statue have agreed to build a dome so the statue will not be readily visible to pedestrians in order to alleviate fears. However, he added the process will take about 2 months and the dome will cost about 60 million baht. And there it is, the apparently 5-metre-tall statue, people below taking photos, offerings being left there. Sounds like a 60 million baht dome is an expensive way to avoid people seeing the statue. Anyway, it looks like the Bazaar Hotel are reacting to people's fears, problems they have with this particular demon-looking statue. Also from Khaosod English Facebook page, after the public signed at least, nearly 206,000 names in just 3 days, a people's group drafting a constitution presented a request for rewriting the entire, I think that needs to say constitution, 100% or entirely at the Pattaya party that should be headquarters yesterday. So this is a separate private movement apart from the parties that supported the idea of rewriting the country's constitution, the 2017 Charter, which really led to the problematic election of a Prime Minister and a new coalition here in Thailand. And so it's not just the Pattaya party behind this, this is a group of lawyers and apparently already gathered 206,000 names. And this is the actual question they're posing to the Thai people. Do you agree that the Parliament must amend the 2017 Constitution to create a whole new constitution by members of the Constituent Assembly who are elected by the people? So quite a complicated process. I mean, firstly, they have to ask the Thai people, do you want to change the 2017 Charter? A very complicated document. Then the Constitutional Drafting Committee have got to get their pads and pencils out and scribble up a new constitution. That's going to have public hearings. There's going to be debates in Parliament. There's going to be some final resolution, some final document, and then that gets voted for by the people. It's not going to happen next week, probably not next year, probably going to take 2 or 3 years at least, but something that the Thai and other parties have promised the Thai people. Let's read a bit more about that. Nation Thailand reporting Thai to discuss referendum on drafting new charter in first cabinet meeting. The group, this is this independent group that have prepared this petition, fears that the Election Commission would drag its feet in verifying the signatories, so the group would like the Thai Party, which heads the next ruling coalition, to use its executive power to hold a referendum instead. That means they'd have to get a vote in Parliament to go ahead with this referendum. The group also realised the Thai had promised during the election campaign to push for the election of a new constitution drafting assembly to write a new constitution, so the group's demands is in keeping with the Thai policy. So they also need to get a new constitutional drafting committee approved. It's going to take a while, isn't it? So the story goes on. He said if the majority of voters vote yes in the referendum, the government would invoke Article 256 of the Charter to amend the Constitution to have a new charter drafted by the CDA. So it appears some 209,000 people already think this is a priority for Thailand, and we'll see where that goes in coming weeks. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you do. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost you anything. We're not going to send you emails or anything, but it really helps the channel. Tuesday's TNT, let's check a few crime stories heading to Pattaya first, and this in the BangkokPost.com. Finn found dead in Pattaya house, and a man from Finland was found dead in a house in Banglamung district on Sunday night, and they found a naked man lying dead on the bedroom floor. He was believed to have died several days earlier, reported as a week in other media. Based on the condition of the body, there were no traces of physical violence. The house has not been ransacked. The man was identified as Tim Jani Muhonen. He is 54 from Finland. Police said 5 or 6 days earlier, a Thai woman came to visit the man. Before she left, she was overheard telling the man not to lock the door. Police are investigating. Okay, well that sounds a bit suspicious. Let's see if we can find out more. We go to the PattayaNews.com that reports the residents noted that the house was solely occupied by the deceased. He'd recently been visited by an anonymous Thai woman. The residents overheard this woman tell the deceased not to lock the front gate for her potential return. Strangely, no one had seen the foreign man after that point until the unsettling odour prompted them to call for help. And down the bottom, the Pattaya News notes that neighbours and the Thai media widely called the man a tourist, but he appeared to have been residing in Thailand for some time and was more likely an expat. So, potential crime in Pattaya. Let's go to Phuket now. And the PhuketExpress.com reporting a man stabs ex-girlfriend to death in broad daylight in Kathu. Kathu, a sort of dormitory suburb in central Phuket, pretty much just over the hill from Patong, where a lot of Thais live because they can't afford to live in Patong. The Kathu police were notified of the incident on Monday afternoon in front of a motorbike shop on the Wichet Songkran Road in Kathu. And police emergency responders and the Phuket Express arrived at the scene to find a 30-year-old woman. She was bleeding heavily on the ground with many stab wounds and was rushed to a local hospital where she was tragically pronounced dead. And police arrested the suspect, identified as a 32-year-old from Phetchabun. He was the woman's ex-boyfriend. Seized from him was a 25-centimetre long pointed knife. Slash wounds were found on his hands, and he was taken to the Kathu police station. He told police he was trying to rekindle the relationship with his ex-girlfriend, but she refused and attempted to walk away from him. He followed her before they started a verbal and then physical argument, and he stabbed her many times, and he remains in police custody. And from Katu in Phuket, heading up to Bangkok, this story reported in Thai PBS World, Pattay's challenge to reduce electric train fares to 20 baht max. Do you travelled on the BTS or the MRT recently? How much have you paid? So one of Pattay's promises was to have a cap on the fare of 20 baht per trip. And the Department of Rail Transport believes that if the Pattaya Party's policy to reduce the fare for electric train services in Bangkok and its suburbs to 20 baht to travel the entire distance of a route, the government must allocate a special fund to subsidise the operators for their loss of revenue. The 20 baht electric train fare is one of the Pattaya Party's election manifesto promises. And the story notes that electric train fares in Thailand are about 20% higher than in Singapore. And then the average train fare for a trip in Bangkok is estimated to be 11% of the minimum wage. That's compared to 1.5% in South Korea, 2.9% in Japan, or 3.5% in Singapore. So interesting to note these BTS fares. I've always thought they're reasonable, but according to that data, Thai people are paying a hefty price for travelling on the electric public transport in Bangkok. And I love this last paragraph. If the new government, led by the Pattaya Party, can realise this policy to reduce the electric train fare to a maximum of 20 baht as pledged, it would boost the party's popularity among people in the city. Yes, it would. Remembering that out of the 33 districts in Bangkok on the May 14 election, the Move Forward Party won 32 of them. So Pattaya have some work to do in the city of Bangkok. To our next story now, and let's talk about the cabinet. So this is the new Pattaya coalition government. This is the cabinet, the people that have got the top jobs. I'm not going through the whole list, but I'll just go through some of the main names. I'll also put a link in the description if you'd like to study this particular story in greater detail. But reported by khaosodenglish.com, the Srettha cabinet consists of 36 individuals from 6 parties. The latest cabinet lineup, released by the Pattaya Party yesterday, concluded all the positions as follows. Now, of course, you've got Srettha Thavisin, the Prime Minister. He's also the Finance Minister. Cholnan, should be Cholnan, he's the new Minister of Public Health. Now, we've seen a lot of him recently. He's the leader of the Pattaya Party, and he's been involved in a lot of the negotiations. So he takes over from Anantan Charnvirakul, who was the Public Health Minister in the last coalition. And a new name there for the Minister of Tourism and Sport, a person called Sudawan, a name I'm not familiar with, but an important ministry for people who are looking at travelling to Thailand. This is the person who's going to be coming up with policy about tourism and making recommendations about things like arrival taxes or even changes to visas. This is where the recommendations would probably start. Now, going to the Phumjai Thai Party, and Anantan Charnvirakul, of course, known well, used to be the Public Health Minister. He's now a Deputy Prime Minister and the Interior Minister. And the Palang Pracharat Party, some names we may or may not know. The first name, Police General Pracharawat Wongsuwon. Now, this is Prawit Wongsuwon's younger brother. When I say younger brother, he's 74 years old. Well, he's going to be a Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment. And Captain Tamanap Prompau, the Minister of Agriculture, was also the Deputy Minister of Agriculture for a time in the previous government before being sacked by the former Prime Minister. He was also a resident in a Sydney jail for 4 years after being convicted for heroin trafficking, spending 4 years there before being sent back to Thailand. So congratulations to Captain Tamanap Prompau. To another story now, let's talk weather. And BangkokPost.com reporting the Super Typhoon Saulo brings heavy rain to northern Philippines. The Super Typhoon Saulo is expected to make landfall on the Philippines on Wednesday, having already drenched parts of the north with heavy rains before heading to southern Taiwan and the coast of China. Looks like it's probably going to miss a landfall as such. We'll check that in a moment. The storm briefly weakened to a typhoon over the Philippine Sea and may lose more power in the next few hours due to the upwelling of cooler ocean waters and the onset of dry air before re-intensifying as it turns northwestward. And Hong Kong is maintaining its designation of the storm as a super typhoon. Salo will likely move away from the Philippines Thursday morning or afternoon, cross the Taiwan Strait before making landfall over southeastern China on Friday evening or early Saturday. And this is a screen capture from Ventus Sky. We can see Thailand here, and then up here just north of the Philippines we've got Salo. And we can see there that the typhoon looks like it's just going to kiss the northern coast of the Philippines. And this is a map published this morning in taiwannews.com.tw. It looks like the track the typhoon's going to avoid actually making landfall with the Philippines, probably getting very close to the south there of Taiwan before reaching the South China coast north of Hong Kong. So we're going to see more of these typhoons. We're getting into the typhoon season. They develop in the northern Pacific this time of the year and make their way usually right through the middle of the Philippines. Sadly, we'll keep a track on them as they develop. Now, I will put a link in the description of today's video for that Cowsod story if you want to check out all the names in the new cabinet. I imagine they'll probably installed sometime in the next week, be royally endorsed, and then we will have indeed a new government here in Thailand. But thanks for watching today. Please subscribe to the channel. A big thanks to our sponsors, 5 Star Marine. There's a link in the description if you'd like a special discount. In the meantime, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you tomorrow.